Hello, everyone. The one called Fate knocks at your door.
Hello. Here with Raid Shadow Legends.
No. There's no Raid Shadow Legends. We will spare you from that. That was a goof. There's enough of that all over the internet. We don't need... That being said, if Raid Shadow Legends wants to give us money... I'll do it. Contact me through Anchor. I'll do it. But yeah, it's me, Paul, and my co-host, Big Boy Chungus. Say hey.
Hello.
And we're back with another tabletop recap. Last time we talked about Magic the Gathering, and today's just going to be some general stories. Some talking about games in general. Because last time we introduced ourselves, talked about Magic, as I said. Our other co-hosts are not here yet again. We're actually recording two on the same day just so we can make sure we have some content. But they should be with us next time, probably.
Yeah, we're all getting our regular schedules in, so we'll definitely be having more regularly scheduled group podcasts.
Yeah, so the next one will either be all four of us or me and
Karen,
the manager slayer. Yeah, it might just be me and her because I know she wants to do one for lots of her old stories. But I think I would like to go first this time.
All right.
And tell a Pokemon trading card game story. So, I collect the tag team cards. And when the Pokemon TCG Unified Mind set came out, there was this Mew Mewtwo card in it. Where they were both on the same card. Really cool. And that was the card I was trying to get. Because I wanted the tag teams, and Mewtwo's like my favorite legendary. Because I'm a basic Gen 1 boy.
Pretty common favorite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Gen 3 is best of Gen, of course. Oh, whoa, a bunch of people just unsubscribed. what just happened?
I mean, hey.
It just dropped.
I mean, hey, Sapphire was my first Pokemon game. I don't have anything wrong with it.
Did I give you that game?
You or one of our other friends from back in the day did.
I think I gave you that.
I remember you were at my birthday party when I got it.
I'm pretty sure.
It was a birthday present.
We were very young. But I'm almost positive I gave you that game.
If it wasn't you, it was one of our very close friends from back in the day.
I'm pretty sure it was me.
I'll give you the credit.
So I was doing a pack battle with another Pokemon TCG YouTuber, the Grumpy Charizard. I'm sure he'd appreciate a shout out. Mm-hmm. And I won because I pulled the Rainbow Rare Mewtwo Mew, which is like a secret rare card. Almost impossible to get. Like one per case if you even get a Rainbow Rare. Because you could also get a Gold Secret Rare.
Yeah, they're not easy to find.
And needless to say, I won the pack battle. Because at the time, that was like a $125 card. And I sent you a picture of it. And you were like super jelly.
Oh, yeah.
Who wouldn't be, though?
I mentioned in the last podcast, and I promise not to go off on a tangent, but I love all of the ultra rares and secret rares of Pokemon because they just have such beautiful artworks. And the rainbow rares are like, I covet them. It's sinful.
It's the same art as the full arts, but it's rainbow. And I sold you one for
it almost looks
probably more than you would want me to say.
I was willing to do it. And it almost looks like a metal print. I was trying to think of what they look like, but they look like metal inlay.
The texture is beautiful. But the point is, it's a strong card, a beautiful card, rare card, expensive card. Then, my generous friend here. Okay, so our other two co-hosts are actually married. They had an anniversary. And I got them... I got one of them as a Pokemon... Wait, what did I get them? I don't remember what I got them. I'm a bad friend.
I can remember what I got them. Because
I got them... I told you what to get them. Because I've known them longer than you have.
Yes.
And I guess your present's the one that's important. I know I got them Pokemon cards, but I think I also got them something else. I just don't remember what the other thing was. But I told you, I was like, Karen, the manager slayer, wants to start playing Pokemon more. So get her some Pokemon stuff. And then, because you said you wanted to get Maddie Matt a comic book, and I told you the only volume of New 52 Aquaman he was missing was volume 2.
And Aquaman's like his favorite right now, right?
Yeah, it's his favorite superhero. And a good choice. Modern Aquaman's he's dope. And New 52 was a good run. Jeff Johns did a good job. So you got him volume 2, which he still hasn't let me read. Angry. And you got Karen an Elite Trainer box for All Unified Minds, which was a very generous gift. And she opened it. She doesn't know what she's pulling, right? Because she's new to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Also pulls a Rainbow Rare Mew Mew 2.
And to put it into context, about 3 or 4 weeks had passed since Paul pulled his. And I had purchased an Elite Trainer box of this myself, along with some blister packs, trying to find it. With good pulls, but no luck with a Rainbow Rare, let alone the Mewtwo Rainbow Rare.
And then a brand new player pulls it in front of you after your best friend and Pokemon rival pulled it in front of you. And you just went, no! You were like, no! This can't be happening! I should have kept that! Like, can you imagine your friends have an anniversary, you give them the present, they open it, and then you scream at them, I should have kept that?
Yes. I think everyone gets salty about something when it comes to anything competitive, but I think everyone has that moment where it's like the antithesis of salt. And that was my saltiest moment ever. I got it for her thinking, oh, she wants to get into it. This would be a nice thing to do. And it was super petty of me. And I tried my best but not to be rude to them, because that's not something that they could have helped. And I actually told them, I said, I am so happy for you, but I am also royally ticked off.
You were like, crap, I got you your gift was too good. But I think it balanced itself out because you were jealous, but you also got them an expensive gift.
I said, if there was anyone else who would have pulled this, I'm glad it was you, but I kind of wish it was me. Because I paid you $40 for that gift, and I made you $120 profit in return.
That card's lost some value now. I think it's going more for like $80, $90 these days.
That's still more than twice what I paid for the gift.
That's still a lot. But she says it's for sale if you want it.
No. Too much new stuff has come out now. I'm kind of over it.
I mean, I wouldn't pay that for one card. I'd sell one card for that, though. High five.
Plus, I think one of the reasons why I was so stressed out about that was we also just got done with a really hectic night of D&D.
Yeah, and we'll get more into that when we have the whole group with us.
Yeah, I won't go into that one because that's another story for another day.
That'll be our best episode for sure. Best one yet, anyways.
But yeah, it was. I've never experienced pure happiness for a friend, but utter salt and resentment at the same time.
How can you hate and love someone so much? Wait, just ask my father. Ha ha ha! High five. High five me so I don't cry. There we go.
I mean, I don't know if I should be supporting that.
Just for the listeners, these are jokes. these are absolutely jokes. But I think you had a story about a Nerf gun after a Pokemon tournament you wanted to tell. This one's kind of sort of related to gaming. This
is just more of something funny that happened while we were playing a game. It's not something crazy or anything. But I think it did partially ruin a friendship. So long.
It's been years, and I think he's still mad at you.
So years and years ago, this was like back when I was a junior in high school, just getting back.
I think it was more like 2013 or 14, wasn't it?
Oh gosh,
we were out of high school then.
You guys, I may have been a senior. You guys may have been in college, and because remember, I was a year behind you guys.
I spent so much time with you. I forget we were in different grades because we hung out so much.
Yeah, but so it was around my high school, your early college year, somewhere around there. And one of our friends, he had just gotten a new job or something, and he wanted to host this personal Swiss tournament.
Yeah, a Swiss.
Where he
explain the Swiss tournament format.
So the way a Swiss tournament works is that you take a booster pack. No, not a booster pack. A booster box of cards. So it's like 50 booster packs.
Remember, he had a case, so he had multiple booster boxes. Yeah, he spent like a fortune on it.
He spent $500 because a booster box is $100 a piece. And he had 5 of them, so that's $500.
Yeah. And then you like divvy up. You open a certain number of packs, and then you make a 30-card deck instead of a 60-card deck with what you got.
All random, and usually the energies for whatever you need are provided. And usually the way these things work is you're only going to have 2 winners. Either the person who gets the best pull or the person who's able to come up with the most synergy with the cards they have.
That reminds me of 2 more stories. I'm going to put them on the list while you tell.
You do that. So we got our random cards and we opened our packs, and it was just us, so it wasn't official or anything. We were just coming up with weird ways to determine who goes first. And one of the ways we decided for one round was to do like Nerf Russian roulette. I do not condone Russian roulette, by the way, but this was with Nerf guns and no one's life was in danger.
I forgot the Russian roulette part of this story.
So, yeah, we put 3 Nerf rounds in one of those 6-cylinder Nerf guns, and we spun it.
Yeah, because he had 2 of them, I remember.
And whoever got hit with the dart first was the person who went second. So, you lose, you snooze, you lose, whatever. And so I wound up shooting my opponent at the time, and a Nerf gun didn't go out. And I was at this point just really tired of just stuff in general. So he's laughing because obviously I'm going to have to go second most likely because I missed the first shot. And so I threw the Nerf gun at him.
And it smacked him square.
Yeah, it was like slapstick comedy, except he thought it was like not funny whatsoever. It was
Curly Moe and Larry showed up.
It was like I pointed the Nerf gun at him, click, he laughed, threw the Nerf gun, and then he just got so upset. I don't blame him because, I mean, these Nerf guns aren't light and they were heavy. So it probably hurt him. Oh, and I apologize profusely, but that didn't take away the feelings that he had. And to this day, you can tell me this or not because I don't see him as often as I used to. But don't you guys still bring up that evening? Like you still?
I haven't seen him in a long time. He moved, and I spent a lot of my time like 3 hours away because of school.
I just
and
remember
work
you telling me like months and even a few years after that incident.
Occasionally
when you did.
Whenever we brought you up, like to tell a story about something funny you did, or we're like, oh, he's doing this in school and it's real cool, or something, he'd be like, he threw a Nerf gun at me. Rah, 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 rah. I'm still mad about that. Yeah, he holds grudges.
I remember this one time this is a story about you telling a story where you were telling him like this long-winded joke about some old lady crossing the street and she almost got hit by a car, and then you said the punchline was, then she threw a Nerf gun at him.
Yeah. And I would just end like random things with it. And she threw a Nerf gun at him.
He would always get so upset.
I forgot I used to do that. God, see, this is why we have these podcasts, so that I remember that I used to be happy.
But so, yeah, that's the story of how I almost ruined a friendship with a Nerf gun.
He's probably still upset.
Not really Pokemon related, but we were playing Pokemon during that whole incident.
Yeah. Pokemon led into the incident, so I say it counts.
Yeah, also just me being a jerk.
Okay, so the next story is about just me being a jerk who ruins everything nice.
I wouldn't say being a jerk, just a know-it-all.
So, if you listen to our last episode, which was mostly about Magic the Gathering, then you know that Big Boy Chungus made me a dinosaur deck to get me into the game, because I'm a big dinosaur fan. You know, everyone's a dinosaur fan when you're a kid, and then I just didn't stop. So that's how it be. But...
So I remember back when you were a kid, and this is just to kind of feel you were a fan of dinosaurs.
Big
like
boy.
You watched all the Walking With series documentaries. You saw all of the Discovery and National Geographic stuff, and you were like a fanboy for paleontology.
That's kind of what grew into my kaiju obsession. I'm kind of known as like the Godzilla guy around our entire town. Like even people that don't know me know I'm a Godzilla guy. Our whole hometown like knows me for that. It's pretty sad or impressive, whichever. But
I'm not judging.
So I had to make me a dinosaur deck. So I was like, if I'm going to play, I just want to be with the kind of thing I like. And
he gets the deck for the first time.
I'm going through the deck, and I give him this look, and I'm like, this isn't right. This is a Dimetrodon.
And the first thing I get when he says this isn't right, I'm like, oh, did I put a wrong card in? Did something not work?
Oh, did I accidentally leave one of the red dinosaurs in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was originally going to have red dinosaurs in it, but it doesn't. And so I showed the card to him, and I was like, Dimetrodon wasn't a dinosaur. It was a mammal-like reptile.
And I'm like, oh.
Did you not?
Okay.
Did you not? Don't you know basic paleontology?
He said, no, because I didn't take that course in university.
And so I'm like, fine, I'll forgive it. By the way, if you don't recognize the name Dimetrodon, it was that 4-legged lizard-looking creature that had the big frill spine on its back. You've probably seen an image of one. It's actually a pretty popular creature, but everyone thinks it's a dinosaur, and it's not.
Apparently.
Yeah. And then there's also this, what was that? What's it called? The primal?
Zetalpa Primal Dawn. It's that Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah. Quetzalcoatlus, which was a big bird boy based on the god or whatever, named after the god.
The Aztec god.
I think it's because it was found in that region, maybe, but I'm not totally sure.
I think you're right.
If not, it was also just a big flying boy, so this still would have warranted the name. But I turned it to him and I was like, Quetzalcoatlus was a pterosaur, not a dinosaur. My good sir. Absolutely not correct.
And I'm like, okay, so while you're at it, why don't you explain to me how mer people would or wouldn't work in this fantasy fictional universe?
And then we got to Galta the Primal Hunger, which is a T-Rex. And it's like, it has the highest attack and defense of any of my cards in that deck. It's a 12-12, and it's really easy to play in the late game. But I was like, in real life, the T-Rex was a scavenger. It actually wasn't a very tough dinosaur at all.
And at that point, I was like, I'll take that card back if you don't want it.
They were so weak that if they ever tried to run, their legs would break. This is all fact. Also, they were probably killed by rocks.
I don't even know how that would happen.
Meteor.
All the dinosaurs died that way.
Not the ones that were killed in other ways. Like, yeah, I'm just goofing, obviously. Now we're gonna move on to one of your stories.
So the next story that I have took place a few years ago. Card game related. We had just gotten into Munchkin.
Yeah, good game.
This was during the time where I was just starting to collect board games and get into all that. And one of our friends purchased it just to try it out. And we all thought it was really fun. I even bought my own copy of the basic game and asked for one of the spin-offs for Christmas.
And then we would never play your copy because he had his first and we were just used to it.
Yeah, and he was obsessed with this game. Like, this guy, bless his heart, he bought all of the spin-off games, all of the expansions, booster packs. He even went out of his way to buy some of the physical merchandise that can also be played for the game.
No, he didn't have any of that. That was me.
Okay. Was it you who had that shirt?
Yeah, the shirt. So it was a shirt with like a trading card on it, and it was a trombone, and it was like +2 to something or another, or something like that. And I just wore it as a shirt because I was into trading card games, and I played trombone at the time that shirt was given to me as a gift. Someone just was like, "Oh, trading cards, trombone. No, that'll be good for him." And then they gave it to me, and I wore it to a comic shop, and they were like, "Oh, cool Munchkin shirt." And I was like, "What are you talking about, bruh?
What's Munchkin?"
What's Munchkin? It's like, "Excuse me? Excuse me, what's Munchkin?" And then he explained to me that all the Munchkin merchandise can be like used in the game because he had this Munchkin bobblehead sitting on the checkout counter, and he lifted it up and showed me the bottom, and it was like it had a booster on the bottom. It was like add 2 to whatever, blah blah blah.
So Munchkin, one of the reasons I love it is it takes all of the basic components of a dungeon crawling adventure and breaks it down into a half trading card, half RPG adventure, and it's great for spending an hour and a half with friends on a Saturday or Friday night on a weekend. But our friend's problem was that he bought everything when it came to the actual cards.
Yeah,
and then, it would have been one thing. It's like, oh, let's pick one or the other and we'll run a game. He took every expansion, including the base game, that could be, according to the rules and for the mechanics of that set, be blended together. Because the games are kind of meant to be mix and match.
Yeah.
And blended them into this just god-awful amalgamation of Munchkin trading cards. You almost couldn't stack them at all. We had like multiple stacks that we had to draw from.
And don't forget the worst part. 2 of each expansion.
Yeah.
Not just 1. 2 Axe Cop. 2 of the instrument one.
There was an apocalypse one, a vampire one, a Middle Earth themed one, in addition to the regular fantasy one, just to name a few.
Yeah, I mostly just remember the Axe Cop one, to be honest.
And Munchkin normally, according to the box, and we've playtested enough time that this is accurate, to take up about an hour and a half. This game ran for 6 hours. Thank God it was on a weekend, because we wound up starting this game at 10 o'clock in the evening. Because we were playing other games and watching South Park and just chilling out.
Maxing, relaxing.
We're not doing...
Shooting some b-ball outside of the school when a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood.
Thank you. So
I got in one little fight, and my mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air." So I whistled for a cab, and when it came near, the license plate said fresh, and it had Dyson in the mirror. And if anything, I would say this cab was rare. So I thought, not forget it, yo homes to Bel Air.
I deserve this.
Okay, continue.
Apparently. So we started at 10, and it lasted...
I pulled up to the house around 7 or 8, and I yelled to the cabbie, "Yo, home, smell you later." Looked at my kingdom, I was finally there to sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel Air.
Until 4 o'clock at night, or in the morning.
4 a.m.
By hour 3, which we should have known that by the time it was taking that long, we should have just gone home. But our friend would not let us quit. By hour 3, we were like, "We're done. Kill us."
It was like a hostage situation.
Yeah, it was like a Saw movie where we had stumbled into some horror puzzle house and he wouldn't let us go until all of us had died except one.
It's like, "I want to play a little game." Are you gonna?
6 hours is not a little game.
Are you going to put my head in a vice, or are you going to make me play Munchkin? Because it's like, there's one of those I'm fine with, and the other I'm not.
Here's a hint. It's not Munchkin.
Oh my God.
But
I remember the only reason that night even ended was because one of our friends made a winning play, and I could have countered it, but I chose not to because I wanted to die.
We were intentionally trying to sabotage ourselves to just try and end the game early, but our friend would always call us on it, and he was like a cruel referee.
There were like 5 of us.
And we all kept like trying to help one person or the other, whoever was in the front. Like we would intentionally fight monsters we knew we couldn't beat just to have us killed and boost them to the next level. Because the thing is that the game doesn't end when only one player is alive, because death is meaningless in this game. Death just means you respawn. Yeah. So it literally only ends when one player reaches the 10th level of the dungeon.
Oh, jeez.
So there wasn't anything particularly funny that happened in that game. It was funny that we were all being tortured and held against our will. Oh.
Munchkin is a wild game. So,
speaking of being held against our wills, Hunt has another story.
So, when the Power Rangers 20th anniversary came around, I'm a big Power Rangers fan. I collect them. The Power Rangers 20th anniversary season was terrible, but they were releasing a bunch of Power Rangers stuff, merchandise that was just crazy. And they released a Power Rangers trivia game that I bought, unaware that none of my friends would want to play it with me. I had like one other friend who was really into Power Rangers, and he actually is the one that held us captive to play Munchkin. Then I had another who only watched the dinosaur seasons, so he knew a good bit about Mighty Morphin, and then everything about Dino Thunder. And this was before Dino Charge was out.
And then you had me, who was literally just getting into DC and Marvel.
Yeah, that was back when we were having game nights, like when you lived in the same town as me. And you and your brother lived together and everything.
Yeah.
And we had him in your basement. And I was like, "Let's play this game." And you were both like, okay, you spent $40 on it. We don't want to make you feel bad. So we just played this game, and I'm answering questions left and right. I'm feeling good. Who's the villain that killed Sky's dad in Power Rangers SPD? What order do the Power... These are actual questions you asked me that I remember. What order do the Power Rangers list in their morphing sequence, and etc. for Mighty Morphin? And I was just getting them right. And you guys, like, didn't get any right the entire time, and you were just being like very patient, calm boys, which is the exact opposite of what happened the last time we played a game together last week, where we were all screaming at each other. So I don't know what happened to us, but we're awful now.
Like, you're drawing trivia cards, asking us questions. And who's the Green Ranger who became the White Ranger is everyone's favorite?
Tommy Oliver.
Yeah,
played by Jason David Frank.
Yeah, you were like, which it was some question about him, about like who his character was and what he does in the show, and all I could
that was literally the easiest question in that entire
and I was
box.
like,
in that entire game. That's the
but
easiest
see,
question.
I didn't know that, and I was like, I don't know, is he the blue one?
The blue one.
I can imagine you being the one hearing that, and it's like, oh, look at this noob, this nerd.
But to any normal person, it's like, whatever, who cares? And then I played it with the friends who actually cared a little bit. And the one who I said really only watched Dino Thunder and A Little Mighty Morphin got like the one really hard question he could answer. Like, what's the name of the Sentai version of Dino Thunder? And he was like, Abba Ranger. But it's actually, it's not, it's a longer name than that. But Abba Ranger was the important part. So I gave it to him. He was so proud for the rest of the night. Bless his soul.
You actually got mad at me that night because afterwards we were talking about, what little Ranger experience me and my brother had. And I said, the one that I remember the most about, you would probably know more about this, was, what was that movie where like the main bad guy was an ooze?
That movie's awful.
Well, the reason why I know about it is because when I was young at the daycare I had, that was one of the 25 movies they had on standby.
It was at that old VHS video center we used to have in town too.
Well, but the daycare center that I had, they had a bunch of old VHSs back when DVDs were like just starting to come out. So that's what they would play these on repeat during nap time or whatever. And I always remember that was like the one Power Rangers movie they had, and they would always play it whenever someone requested it. And I was a primary school kid, so I was too dumb to actually know that it was a terrible movie. I know now.
Yeah, I liked it as a kid, but now you go back, I have a copy of it, you go back and watch it, and it's like hard to look at.
Yeah, but like you got physically mad at me that night when I told you that. That's all the exposure I've had to Power Rangers.
Yeah, but then I was playing with them, and I was like overanalyzing questions, like I was giving answers that were way too much information and stuff.
I'm like, I didn't ask for this
because like they asked me one that was like, how many Power Ranger movies are there? And this was a couple years after the game came out, I think. And I was like, now see, this question has changed answers since since this game came out. Because now we're getting a 2017 Power Rangers movie, which we did see together, and you liked.
I did.
I did too. And I was like, well, there's the Mighty Morphin movie and the Turbo movie, but are we talking just theatrical, or are we also talking TV specials? Because many people count the Samurai RPM Red Ranger special as a movie, and it was like blah blah blah, and I was doing all this like I wrote I basically gave a verbal essay on how it could be multiple answers, and then my final answer was 3, and they were just like, okay. Yeah, it's 3, and they showed me the card and it said 3, and I was like, yeah. I am the Power Rangers god.
If you say so. I'm pretty sure it's some dude in a gold set of armor, but whatever.
I love it. It's beautiful. Practical effects are just my favorite thing. And if it's fun and colorful and makes me forget I'm sad, then more power to it.
I've just learned not to question you on anything when it comes to Power Rangers and Super Sentai. Leaving it at that.
So, another Magic the Gathering story we remembered that we didn't tell last time. Last time we didn't have a list. we just talked about what we were going to... But today we have an actual physical list.
We're actually prepared this time.
Yeah. So, we were playing games with one of our friends. We always play three-way Magic games together. And he has this... Is it an enchantment that he plays?
Yes. He has a whole deck that runs around enchantments.
Yeah, his decks are crazy. His decks are like really unique and cool. Because he's smarter than us.
Yeah, whereas
our decks are monster attack, monster big. And his decks are like, oh, I'm going to block everything you do, and then I'm going to deal damage to you directly without you being able to block anything.
This is the end for you, Yugi boy.
Whoa, heart of the cards. Anyways, I hate myself.
I hate you too.
I hate myself.
Get on
So
with
he played
it.
this card, and he was like, any creature that's played that isn't black is destroyed. So the first creature someone plays that isn't black is destroyed. And I was like, it's so stupid.
I'm sure the fans would like to know why you're chuckling.
So I said, if the creature ain't black, it's destroyed. That feature is whack. Which isn't funny at all. It's just a dumb rhyme. But without missing a beat, he turns to me and goes, shut up!
It was one of those situations where the joking question was not funny. It was the audience's reaction to the comedian that was like totally unexpected.
Because I'm used to you like bouncing rhymes back at me. Like I'll say something that rhymes and then you'll like rhyme your next sentence with it.
Yeah.
And we go back and forth. But he was like completely unexposed to our rap battle freestyle lifestyle. It's so he was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then I rhymed a couple more times during that game and he just stared at me, rolled his eyes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've lost a friend because I made that stupid double rhyme.
You are an acquired taste when it comes to your form of comedy. Now,
everything about me is an acquired taste.
This particular friend has a super dark sense of humor. In fact, the first time I met him, it was over a Holocaust joke.
That was such a weird story. We'll save it for later.
We may let him tell us that story if he joins us one day. But,
we need licensing approval for that joke.
But so this guy was no stranger to dark humor. But here comes Hunt with his little rhyming schemes that sounds like fifth graders came up with it, and it just offended Connor.
Fifth graders, I'm insulted.
So was Connor.
I get it's the speed at which I did it that I think made it so unnerving. Because as soon as he read the card, I said it. And I was like totally, but I wasn't cracking up like I am now. I just said it totally serious, like just so stupid. It's just a black creature. That's a whack feature.
I think we're laughing at it now because we're just repeating it over and over.
It's also midnight, and the later it gets, the funnier things are to people. Like one time I was playing Monpok, and we were all just cracking up at nothing. It was so stupid. So, did you ever play Star Wars Minis with me when we were in high school?
I did not. I actually didn't get into miniatures until recently with D&D.
Are you super sure?
I might have been present during a game, but I remember playing one game of Monpok. The fact that I don't remember playing a single round of Star Wars leads me to believe that I just didn't play it.
We played that game a lot back in the day. It doesn't exist
anymore. That
anymore.
might have been before I came back, because remember in high school I was only there for my junior and senior year, which was just your senior year.
That's true. I think we mostly played Pokemon. But Star Wars Miniatures is, to this day, one of my favorite games of all time. I'd probably be able to play it even after all these years just because I played it so much. And everyone was always really mad at me because I had eternal dibs on Boba Fett. And not because it was Boba Fett, but because I had this perfect strategy, right? So I had this one friend who would always get just a ton of stormtroopers. And it was just like a miniatures versus game. You build your team with your points and stuff like hero clicks, and then you fight, and you just knock out all the other person's miniatures. Super fun, easy to play. So he would always get like a big batch of stormtroopers, because if you have commander stormtroopers, they can boost the attack and stuff of the other troopers. And if you have certain numbers of low-level troopers, they can boost your commander trooper. And so he would do these great, like he would plan out his teams on paper to try to beat me, and then I would beat everyone with just Boba Fett. I wouldn't even use all my team points. I had 3 miniatures I used, and that was it. Boba Fett, Thrawn, the blue Empire guy, and a mouse droid.
Okay, anyone who loses to a team with a mouse droid on it.
Yeah, one attacking character. The other 2 don't even attack. They don't do it. They don't attack. I just attack with Boba Fett, and he had like a double attack, so I could attack twice with him and all this stuff. And he could also fly because of his jetpack, so I could ignore like all terrain like effects. It was insane. He was like a $50 miniature when he came out. I remember looking it up. It was pretty wild. He's probably worthless now because the game's not in production anymore. But see, Thrawn was a commander character, so he would give a bunch of effects to my Boba Fett, because Boba Fett was like this class, like fringe class that could work with anybody, kind of. So he would boost Boba Fett, but only if he was a certain number of spaces from him. But I wouldn't want Thrawn to be destroyed, because if you could destroy Thrawn, then you could get rid of all my commander effects. So he literally stayed in the starting position spot.
Thrawn's the blue guy with the red eyes, right?
Yeah, and he's got the white military uniform.
Okay, I sometimes get him and Tarkin mixed up.
Yeah, he's like some of the most popular Star Wars books ever written are about him. But they went out of continuity, and everyone was so mad that he wasn't in continuity anymore, they put him in the Rebels show.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a great character. And so that's where the mouse droid comes in. The mouse droid can extend the range of your commander effects. So I put the commander effects on the mouse droid, and it would take them to Boba Fett. And the mouse droid was also really expensive. Like, everyone in the meta was using the mouse droid.
So does the mouse droid just kind of, in both in-game and in the Star Wars series, act as just kind of a communication droid?
Yeah, it basically just extends the reach of your effects.
So it's a router on treads.
It's literally a router it's a moving router. That's exactly what it is. And I don't think I ever lost with that combo, not a single time. And people were mad, because we had one friend it was the same friend that I let beat us in Munchkin. He would get like big Jedi teams or big, just like powerhouse teams. He had this big Wookiee hunting ATST, I think. I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was an ST. You know what? Who cares? It was a walker, and it was designed to kill Wookiees. And he would just use these crazy things. He would just try to put all these powerhouse characters together, and that never worked because he was just picking the strongest characters, and they weren't boosting each other. Mm-hmm. And then people would be like, oh, we'll do droids. Droids boost each other, like the different battle droids. No one could beat me. And I think that's why they stopped making the game. I honestly think that's why Lucas stopped producing the game, because he knew that no one would ever beat me, and it was futile. No one could ever beat my three-figure combo with only one attacking.
He's over there sitting in his multi-million-dollar mansion, smoking a cigar, sipping chocolate milk, saying, oh, this guy, Paul, he's too good at my game.
Yeah, well, George Lucas is just sitting at home like, thank God I'm not in charge of Star Wars anymore. All because of Paul.
Well, this guy's making a mockery of my work. I'm just going to have to shut it down.
I'm just going to have to... Is that your George Lucas impression? I'm just going to have to shut it down. You sound like a 40s movie star.
George Lucas has a very distinct voice, and my voice is just so deep that sometimes my impressions just don't come off.
But yeah, so moral of the story is, I'm the best at Star Wars.
George Lucas is a sellout, I know, right?
Yeah. Dude, I'd sell Star Wars. I wouldn't sell the toy rights, but I'd sell the movie rights. Fans are crazy. Okay, so I'm actually going to let you tell our next story from when we played the Fallout board game.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I was a huge video game nerd before I got involved with card and tabletop games. So back when I was subscribed to Game Informer magazine, Bethesda announced that they were creating a Fallout board game, and it was supposed to have like a
emphasis on the board.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was... That's just a joke that I've been sitting on, so continue.
Well, most of their regular games are wooden anyway, so... I thought that, hey, this looks cool. I didn't expect to get it because it just looked so novel and unique that maybe only a few people would get it. But I went to a GameStop one day, and they actually had the expansion for it. And I was like, holy crap, this was like popular enough that it got add-ons.
Whoop.
So I actually bought the expansion before I bought the base game. I ordered the base game like
you probably should have play tested before you bought it.
I was so excited that I bought the add-on, and then I purchased the base game online on Amazon like directly after I purchased it from the GameStop.
Kid in a candy shop.
Yeah, literally.
Very expensive candy shop.
Yeah. So the base game wound up showing a few days later. I wanted to try and learn to play it that weekend so that you would, and I and my brother would be able to play test it a little bit. But that didn't happen. So I held on to the game for a few months, kind of picked up some of the rules here and there, and they had everything in these little packaging, so I got everything organized and separated there. Anyways, so we finally get around to playing it, and I just botched this playthrough. So the way it's supposed to work is that they tried and translated all of the mechanics and gameplay that you experience from the Fallout video games into a board tabletop setting. So, of course, you have map tiles that you can explore. There's quests and side quests that you can go and explore. There's even characters that have buffs, debuffs, perks, and whatnot that you can utilize to fit a playstyle that you want. And it was going to be so cool. Well, it turns out you weren't supposed to mix the base game and the expansion packages.
The expansion's literally just a separate story that's supposed to be played by itself.
So we shuffled all of these map tiles. We shuffled all of these quest cards.
Stop saying we like I'm involved.
I did all this. I mean it like the royal we.
The royal we. Oh, your majesty! Your majesty! That wasn't funny. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's late. I'm laughing at that.
Yeah, it's 12:30 a.m. We're sorry. We're crazy.
So we wind up. I wind up shuffling up all these pieces together, and it starts off well enough. Like we had
fun.
Yeah, it was great. We started exploring the map. We started getting some side quests, gaining XP, found some good loot. And then we noticed about halfway through the game that we started getting repeats of quest cards.
Yeah, and story prompts.
Because
we were like, how?
Yeah, so the way the game works is that you reach a point in a quest or a mission, and it's supposed to tell you, okay, you're on card number 42 to continue the story. Make a decision and then draw card number 3 or number 50.
Yeah. It is a role-playing game, but not like D&D where you make your own decisions entirely. You literally have to pick from predetermined decisions.
Yeah, just like
you would in the video
games.
game. I feel like it would have almost been a better game if it was basically just D&D but Fallout.
Or you could just go play the Fallout games.
No, that's still not the same.
So by the time we finally figured, okay, we've just gone up Poop Creek without a paddle, when we've run out of story prompts, and all of the tiles that, by the way, are supposed to be part of the same map are covering different areas of the United States. We've got parts of Arizona mixed with the Capital Wasteland and the Boston area from the latest Fallout game.
There were cards like, go to this location, and we didn't have that tile in use. We were like, oh no.
So half the stuff that we needed was in the spare parts tile for the tiles and parts we weren't using. And we were like, oh my goodness, this is just... Can we just call it?
It was... What we actually were kind of having fun, though, because we played for hours and didn't realize it. Because I looked at my watch and I was like, dude, it's 10:30.
We spent 4 hours playing that game, and I don't think it was until about the third hour when we realized that something was amiss.
Yeah.
And then once we realized that there was no way for us to get the story back on track and fix what I had clearly not taken into account when starting the game, we just said, you know what? We had a good time. Let's just call it.
We've never pulled that game back out.
No, I'm actually afraid to pull it out because it was a pain in the butt to sort before playing, and it was a pain in the butt to sort after.
It took us like an hour to clean the thing up.
Yes.
We had to put all the cards back in order and all that stuff.
4 hours was just the gameplay. It was an additional hour to put the thing up.
And it was, because there were so many tiny little cardboard pieces. I remember you had them in red Solo cups just to keep them separated from each other. There were so many pieces.
I am meticulous when it comes to that stuff because I'm always afraid that I'm going to lose a piece, and I don't want to have to go to some second-hand game shop to buy this one little cardboard piece.
Or get it on eBay.
Yeah.
Because at work, when we were trying to... Because sometimes he'll buy board games and then there'll be missing pieces and he'll go to eBay to get the missing pieces to fix the board game.
I'm not paying $3 for this piece of cardboard. Well, you're the idiot who lost it in the first place. You'll pay whatever we want you to.
We're also the idiots who couldn't play the game right. But it was kind of an overly complicated game.
It was.
It could have been simpler. They could have just It could have just been like
Yeah.
anything else.
It's like I said, they literally tried to translate what was in computer code into a board game, and I felt like had they simplified it just a little bit more, it would have been way more enjoyable and easier to decipher. But that's my story about where I screwed up big time in a board game, but board game wasn't so simple to begin with.
We did have fun though. Like at the end, end of the day, we had fun.
We did.
Okay, so the last story is basically this might be a longer one because it's about our time on a Pokemon gaming team, VGC and TCG. So there's a little video game in this one, but it leads into trading cards. You were only in the trading card half.
Yeah, and I was jealous when I came into it because you guys all had matching like Pokemon T-shirt uniforms.
Yeah,
and I didn't, so I felt like I was a little excluded.
Because Tornadus was our mascot. I don't want to say why because it might reveal the locations of where our parents live. But he was similar to another mascot that we had he was similar to a mascot for a sports team we liked, right? So, like a local sports team. So we were like, hey, he's basically the Pokemon version of our mascot. Let's just make him the mascot of our team. And that was a friend of ours' idea, and he made up the shirts, and we paid him back for the shirts. But all the shirts said VGC on them, which is Video Game Championship and not TCG, trading card game. Because we went to the state Pokemon VGCs, and we did horribly. I got knocked out.
You learned real quick what the national meta was.
Almost all of us got knocked out on the first time, or on our first match. One of us got knocked out on the second match, and then I think the guy that made the shirts made it to the semifinals, actually.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, he made it to the semifinals. But I don't like EV training, so that's why I lost. Because EV training is just boring. It's just grind. It's just a number grind.
So is there like a specific way to train Pokemon that is just EV and evolutions?
Okay. EV training is like training the stats to like boost the stats and everything.
Oh, so it's not like the Pokemon EV. It's a different.
Yeah. And lots of people will like breed Pokemon to have better stats and specific abilities they want. I did the specific abilities, but I just traded for Pokemon with the abilities instead of breeding with stats.
I feel like Michael Vick got in trouble for that somehow.
I just wanted to play to have fun. I didn't really care if I won, but apparently only one of us really cared if he won. And he was also knocked out on the first round. And he was very jealous that our other friend went to the semifinals, which is still pretty far. So we didn't really go back to the VGC because we just ended up liking the TCG so much more. And while we didn't usually place in tournaments with where you brought your deck, because I just never really liked playing meta decks. To this day, I still don't for any game. Because it's just a deck that you see so much it gets boring. And I just don't want to have a boring deck. I want to have an interesting, unique deck that's like got my personal stamp on it, like my ice deck or the electric deck I'm working on. But we did fairly well with that. But then there was the Swiss tournament, which you described earlier, where in our earlier story, where you buy a certain amount of packs. And these were usually pre-release tournaments, like the day before or the week before or the day of that a new set came out.
It's usually a really good way to introduce people to a brand new set that was released.
And you'd buy those packs and get to keep the cards after because you paid for them. And there were prizes. And we were really good at that. Insanely good at Swiss tournaments. One time, I actually made a deck that ended up being a starter deck later. It was a Giratina Curlier deck, and it became a starter deck after that. And I was like, whoa, that's exactly how those cards were designed to be used. And we just swept. Every time we went to one of those Swiss tournaments, we won. One of us won. Every single time. And we had this thing where, like, if one of us wins the Swiss tournament, we all do, because we have the team shirts. So we won every single Swiss tournament we entered, which was awesome. And I could still brag about that.
I mean, we still travel around in that little circle of friends, so that's like a badge of honor for you guys. I came into the Swiss tournaments kind of late, so I can't necessarily take any credit for that. But I remember seeing you guys like that was.
You won one because you have that hat.
Yeah, I did. You're right, I did. But we'll have to save that for a story for another day. Because this, I just remember you guys the first Swiss tournament that you guys brought me to. That was the first time that I saw you guys wearing the shirts and everything like that.
And because we just been hanging out with you so much, we forgot you didn't have a shirt. And then a friend of ours was supposed to make you one, and it just never happened.
And yeah, I was a little disappointed back then, but I didn't hold it against you guys, so that's fine. But so what was going on at this particular tournament?
Well, I'm just talking about the tournaments in general.
Oh,
because now I remember your story. Because you pulled a secret rare Rocky helmet at one. And you didn't know it was a secret rare, and you were just playing with it without a sleeve.
Yes.
And we were like, what are you doing?
I had side tangent. I had no idea. You see, I played Pokemon with you and all of our friends back when we were in like primary and elementary school. Back when the secret most valuable cards you got were just the rare like Charizard and the regular foil cards.
But we didn't really play back then. We just kind of
collected and attempted to play.
We kind of made up our own rules one time, I remember, because we could just pick 6 Pokemon and then just have them attack each other, and we could only have 1 starter and 1 legendary in each of our teams. And I remember doing that in your bedroom when we were little.
Yeah. So I had no idea what a golden secret rare card was. So I get my packs, I open it up, and I was hoping for like a rare EX or a full art or something. And I get this.
Yeah, that was in the EX era.
This secret rare Rocky helmet. I think it was Dark Explorers or something like that.
It was a black and white set for sure.
And I'm like, oh, this is cool. I guess I'll use this in my deck. It looks nice. And all of a sudden,
it's a good card.
Yeah, it was good. And as we start playing, everyone in the tournament's looking at me like I'm some sort of freak. Like I've got an extra hand growing out of my back.
They all wanted that card, dude.
And I'm over here like a dumb... I can't say what it was. I'm over here like Igor from Frankenstein. Ooh, I play Rocky Helmet.
You guys can't see us, but we're all... When he did that, we both hunched over and put our hands up like Rudy Giuliani or Dracula or something. And just started shaking like idiots.
And everyone, and you told me exactly what I was doing wrong. Everyone was getting so mad that I wasn't using sleeves, a mat, or anything with like, I think
the
it was
secret rare Rocky helmet.
Which back then, like all secret rares were like $20 minimum.
Was that also the tournament you won?
No, that was not, because the one that I won was not a pre-release tournament. That was just a sponsored event by the comic store we were
You
at.
sure it wasn't a Swiss?
Yeah, I remember, because the Swiss tournament we were playing with then that I won was from a set that had already been released.
Well, as long as it was a Swiss tournament.
It was a Swiss tournament. Doesn't have to be a pre-release or new set. It's just,
it doesn't have to be, but it was. You still won that very nice official Pokemon tournament hat.
I do, and the guy who hosted the event said that he reluctantly gave it to me. He did not like the fact that I won that tournament.
It's like, how dare you? You're the newest. You're the greenest guy here, and you won. How dare you?
Yeah, but he gave me this Pokemon Championship hat, which, from what he told me, is only given to people who actually win national championships.
Yeah, you just had one at the store.
I haven't had the heart to actually get rid of that hat or anything, because it's still like I won something in trading cards.
Yeah, you wore it in a video we made a while back, actually. But
getting back to your story.
Yeah, so there's one really memorable Swiss tournament other than the one where I made the deck that turned out to be a real thing. There was this kid at one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And...
Oh, I remember you telling me this. This was the kid that was like a Pokemon prodigy or something.
Yeah, he was like a state champ. Like, he did not lose. When, lots of the tournaments at that comic shop that were just straight up bring your 60-card deck tournaments, he won most of them.
This was a kid that he had no business being as smart as he was at that age.
Yeah, he was real good at the game. His whole family played, I think. Because he and his dad would always come in and they'd both play. And so I ended up having to fight him in a round of Swiss. And I was like, I'm out of the tournament. This is going to be it. It'll be fun, though. And then I win. and he was so confused, like he'd never lost before. I had to explain my turn to him multiple times because he didn't understand how he lost.
You literally introduced
I shattered his little world.
You introduced him to the concept of loss. Like, the only other thing left for him to learn at that point is the concept of death.
It was like his grandma died. That's exactly what I was about to say. That poor kid. He was like, I can't have lost. He was like so unused to losing.
And it's one thing if it's like an adult who acts that way. It's like, oh, grow up. But this was like a kid.
Well, we were kids at the time too. That was in high school.
Yeah,
but not as young as
we
him.
were teenagers.
He was like 10.
This guy was like, I thought he was like 8 or 9.
No, he was like 10.
So just out of single digits. But you basically unintentionally crushed this kid.
Poor kid.
Not at the game. You were always a very good sport. You were probably the best sport out of all of us back then. But just,
especially when you're playing against a little kid.
Yeah, no one wants to see a little kid cry. And this kid should have beaten you probably by all rights.
But that's the good thing about Swiss is because it's oftentimes just straight up the luck of the draw, Mr.
Yeah.
Secret Rare. You know that better than anybody.
Oh yeah, that I got another story for another day. But
okay, we'll put it on the list.
I had
because we're coming close to the end of this one. When it's two of us, we don't want to really go over an hour.
I'll just leave you guys this to incentivize you to come listen to more of these. I used to have insane pull luck when I first started playing Pokemon. And I have to tell you about some of the times that I pulled some really nice cards, and everyone hated me for it.
Well, we hated you anyways. It just let it come out of our system, you know. So that's basically it for today, if you don't want to say anything else. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. This was just a general one. As we just play games, we might add on more of these. Hopefully we'll get some more, because we're going to try to start diversifying our games and stuff. I bought the new Godzilla card game that I've heard only good things about from everybody. Even people that aren't in the kaiju community really love it.
And we'll also be replaying some old games that we've mentioned here before, just to make some new stories.
King of Tokyo expansions, King of Manhattan.
Betrayal at House on the Hill is a game that I absolutely love, but I can't really find people to play with me, so we'll have to revisit that.
You need like 4 people to play it, don't
you? Need at least 3.
Yeah.
But now that we've got like a group of 4 that we meet with regularly, we can probably make a few new stories with that.
Nice. So we will be bringing more content to you guys soon. Now I'm going to tack a bunch of ads onto this to exploit you. And,
Raid Shadow Legends!
Raid Shadow Legends! Call me Kevin. Look at me. I'm JonTron. Raid Shadow Legends. Okay, that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Check out our other podcast, Toku King, the superhero monster audio drama. And we'll see you all next time when fate knocks at your door.